Hi everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to draw the Easter Bunny. Before we start, I want you to look at these two pictures of the Easter Bunny. When I draw with students, I usually, every class I go in, I would have one that, you can see it's got a piece of tape on it, that I'd tape up on the board for the students to see while I was showing them the picture. And then, in the next classroom I'd draw another one, in the next classroom I'd draw another one. But what I want you to notice here is that these two pictures are not exactly alike, are they? A couple of things look different about them. But they're both neat pictures of the Easter Bunny, right? Well, when you're drawing a picture, I want you to remember that if it doesn't look exactly like mine while you're drawing it, it's okay. It doesn't have to. As long as you put all the things in it together, the way I show you, it's going to come out looking like some kind of an Easter Bunny. It might be, maybe yours might have a skinnier face than mine. See, this one's got a skinnier face than that one, huh? Or it might have a fatter face, or it might be a rounder, or it might be big. It can be a little different as you go along. And it's still going to look right. So I don't want you to panic. Don't throw away your paper until you're all the way done and you're finished. And then if you don't like it, well, go back and start the video over and try again. So, first of all, let's see. And if you're wondering what students I'm talking about students at Our Lady of Prom Sucker School in Chalmette, Louisiana, students in Ascension Catholic School in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. It's where I've had little students that enjoyed art class. And so now I'm going to show anybody who wants to watch. All right, the thing that you need to make this picture is a piece of white paper. It doesn't have to be special paper. This is just paper from the printer paper, and crayons. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't do it with paint or watercolor paint or chalk or something like that, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use crayons. And if you have crayons, you can use the same. All right, we're going to start the picture. The place I like to start pictures like this is right smack in the middle. So put your finger right in the middle of your paper. In the middle, we're going to draw a triangle with pink. And I'm using carnation pink. And it's going to be a triangle, but it's not going to be a straight triangle. The lines that make the triangle are going to be a little bit curved. And you're going to want the whole nose to be just about as big as a quarter. So if you go too big, then it's going to make the whole rabbit face too big. So and put a little curve like that. Not quite in the center, that's why I'm adjusting it a little bit. And then like that. And then like this. See how it's a triangle, but the edges are curves. Okay, now once you got that going on, you can color it. When you color, try to keep those little white spots out, because that's what makes it look scribbly. Every line you draw in a picture is an important line, even if it's your coloring lines. If your coloring lines are distracting from the lines that are the shapes of things, it kind of makes it hard to look at the picture. It makes it look bad. So if you want your picture to look good, you don't want your coloring lines to show too much unless you really are doing it on purpose to show a texture like hair or something. You might want to let the lines be shaped like the hairs you want. But for the most part, if you're coloring in, you want to get rid of those little white spaces. And my daddy used to call them holidays. On holidays, you don't go to work. The work's not working in that space, so it's taking a holiday. So no holidays when you're coloring something in. Okay, so once you have that, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take, and I used cerulean. This is, nope, that's a regular blue. Here's this, nope, that's not cerulean, that's indigo. Not what I'm looking for. Or you could use, if you don't have cerulean, you can use blue-green. But I'm looking for cerulean. Blue-green would work too. So I'm going to use cerulean. And right over that nose, you're going to put very, very lightly. Now, the reason why we're going lightly is because later on we're going to add some details, and we don't want it to be too dark yet. But for now, lightly, you're going to make a curve right here, and a curve right here. That's going to be bunny cheeks. And then, starting right here where the curve ends, I want you to make 2 upside down U's. And it's not going to come all the way to the end of there, so you can put a little dot right there. That's where you're going to go. You're going to leave a little spot that's still going curving after that. And you're going to just lightly come up and around. You want that to be kind of biggish. Of course, this doesn't look like a live rabbit. It looks like a cartoon rabbit. So that's its cartoon eyes. Okay. Now, inside of those, we're going to make a circle. And another circle. Now, you see how I left white space on the left here? You're going to leave white space on the left over there, or else the eyes won't look right. They'll look like they're not focused correctly. And so we want the bunny's eyes to be both looking the same direction. Okay, now, I have a little problem here, because look, I made that one a little bigger. So you know what I'm going to do? I'll make this one a little bigger, because I'm going to color part of that in a minute. So now they're about the same size. So you want to get those circles looking pretty much the same size. Now, here's a little trick. Inside of there, put a little square, but it's going to be slanting. I guess you could say a diamond, kind of like an A and a V. An A and a V. Don't color those in, and we're going to leave that white. Now you can color the rest of it. Again, try not to have holidays. I know a lot of students who left their picture for the Easter Bunny, and they said the Easter Bunny took it. So you might want to do that if you get to make it before Easter. Or the other thing is to save it, and then next year draw another one and see if you can draw any better next year. Although I think your bunny's going to come out good this year. Most of the ones that I ever did with my students came out really well. The only ones that didn't come out well are the ones that gave up and didn't keep going. Even if they made a mistake, most of the people's bunnies still came out okay, because in the end, after they added everything in, it was fine. Okay, now take your black, and you're going to start on one side of that little white spot you made and make a small black circle like that, but you're not going to go inside the white. Not going to go inside the white. Go around. And again, you can check it. If they're not close to the same size, you can fix it. And then you're going to outline that little white spot you made like that. And then you're going to color the black, still leaving the little white spot. And you might be saying, what is that white spot about? Why did we leave a white spot? I'm going to show you in a second. Okay. Now, as you know, your eyeball is kind of a wet thing. It's not a dry thing, is it? That's why your eyes make tears, so that it keeps your eye wet, so that your eyelid moving up and down on your eye all day long blinking doesn't have to scrape. It's watery so that it's smooth, and it keeps your eye clean. It's like a little windshield wiper. Your eyelid goes like a windshield wiper and cleans your eye. Okay? And that is a smooth, wet, shiny surface. Now, when something's smooth and light shines on it, you can see the light shining on it. It makes like a bright spot. And look, I'm going to show you right here on my pencil sharpener. See where the light is shining on it? It makes a white spot, doesn't it? okay? Our eyes are wet, so the light that's in the room or outside or wherever we are, the light shines on it and makes a white spot. And so it makes eyes look really pretty when you're drawing them, to leave that little white spot. It's called a highlight. A highlight. It's a highlight on just about anything. It's not just for eyes. Look at my pen. See how it's got highlights on it? See the highlights? It's wherever the light is really shining on something. Highlights are the opposite of shadows. You see how it looks darker pink on this side? That's a shadow. And it looks bright right here, and it's lighter pink. That's because of the light and the shadow, okay? So we put a highlight in the eye. It just kind of makes it pretty. Don't you think? Okay. The next thing we're going to do is make sure I got the right color. Make a curve close over the eye like this, a little curve, and another curve like this over the other eye. Okay, now right on top of those, put another one. And we go in lightly because we're going to fix that up real cute in a minute with some darker stuff. Now on this end, you're just going to, let's make it kind of hairy. Bunnies are fuzzy. So I'm going in this direction, and I'm making little lines like that. And I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to go like that. See how fuzzy that looks? And then I'm going to go underneath like that. And that's why I wanted it to be light. I didn't want a big dark curve under there, so see, you almost don't notice that it's there anymore. And I made it hairy. So you start there and underneath. Okay. And we can do the same thing right here. We make that fuzzy. That's part of his furry little face. And we're letting it fluff outward like that. So you're going this way. Okay, in a little bit we're gonna darken this with black and outline that with black. We don't want to do that right now because if we move our hand over it, it might smudge. I think we can get around the eyes without doing that too much. But right now we're going to leave that alone. Well, we are going to have to go ahead and do some black. Let's go ahead and do it. I think it'll be all right. Just be careful that you don't, when you smudge, when you do this to your paper, that you're not smearing little black crumbs, because the little black crumbs will make a mess. Okay. To make those eyes really stand out, we're going to outline that U that we made with the black. And we're going to put some eyelashes. We don't want really a whole lot of eyelashes. We don't want it, we don't want it to look like a girl or a boy. Just eyelashes, not necessarily girl eyelashes or boy eyelashes. Just eyelashes. Everybody's got eyelashes. So, and that makes that direction that they're going makes it look like it's opening up. You see what I mean about these little crumbs? If you can blow them off, that's better. Or very lightly brush them so you don't make streaks with them. Because if you run your hand over one of those, it could make a mark on your paper. All right. This next part's kind of fun. All right, the first thing we're going to do to make his mouth is we're going to go right at the point of the nose. We're going to go down and make sort of like a letter J, but we're not going to make this part really long. It's going to be kind of short. And then go out like that. See how it's kind of like a J? And on the other side, we're going to do kind of like the same thing, except the other direction. And then we're going to put a little curve on each side. Then, in the middle here, go down. It's going to be like a T, but upside down. Then, you're going to slant up to there. Slant up to there. Now you got bunny teeth. And we're going to outline the nose. Okay. Now, I want you to put a dot a little way, maybe you could use your finger, about as wide as your finger, away from your eye over here, above this little curve. Just a little higher than the little curve. And do the same on this side, a little higher than the curve you made. Put a dot. And then I want you to put a dot right here. Now this part's a little tricky. Be really careful. This is the part where you could either go too skinny, and even skinny it's going to be cute, don't worry about it. Or you're going to go fat. You don't want to go way out fat. We're going to make his cheeks. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you what I mean about being careful. I've seen some students whose bunnies look like this. They got the face part, and then they make it, and it goes, meow. Okay? So they would be a long, skinny face, because instead of coming out with a curve, they kind of went too straight. So, that's ears. Some people's would be like this. Why? Because when I said to curve out, well, they curved out too far, and so that would be too fat, you know. So watch what I'm doing first, and then you can give it a try. Another thing that helps is if you go a little ways out over here, like about that far, put a little dot, just a little dot, barely see it, dot. And then over here, put just a little dot that you can barely see. So you say, oh, okay, let's see, that was about that far over there. Let's put it about that far over here. And then your two sides will be even. See how I said, oh, okay, it's that far, okay? So then you're going to make a curve, and you want that curve to start here, come around, touch that, come around, and touch that. That's just to kind of keep us making it the same size and the same shape on each side. And go really lightly, because if you mess up, then it'll be okay. You can kind of make that part of his fur later. See how light I'm going? You almost can't see it, can you? Let me see if I can darken this a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. See, going like this, around. See how I made it? And then over here, you can do the same. See, I made sure to make that one the same distance away, so it should be very similar. It should look almost the same, except the other way. And you can go from this way if you want, whichever way is more comfortable for your hand to go. Okay? Now, that made his face and his cheeks. Now I'm going to make another curve, and it's going to come up, and it's going to curve right over the tops of these eyebrows like this. And again, I'm going to do it really light, because I'm going to want to do things with the fur that I don't want anything too dark that I'll have to go around and cover up. So you see how lightly I'm doing it? Very, very lightly. So if I make a mistake, you won't notice it too much. Okay. So now I've got that part of his face. I'm going to make a little fluff of hair for the bunny right here, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a little, it's going to go up a little bit like that. Then it's going to start looking sort of like an M or a W that's leaning over with curves. See, it's going to go in, out, and like that. I'm going to leave that there, so it'll be a little fluff of hair. Now I'm going to make some, see how I'm just making some little curves, little wispy curves along the edge like that. Going a little darker than my first line. So I'm making him fluffy. Okay. All right, now this next step is the ear. Now, if you're very, very close to the top and you like this, you drew it and it came up way high to the top, don't worry about it. You can fold over your ear. You can make two short ears. I tell you what, let's start with the short ear in case you have to do two short ears. And And then we'll make a long ear. If you've got room, you can make a long ear. All right, this is what we do here. We start out, now this ear can be going toward the corner. It gives us a little more room. But still you want it to be somewhere over the eye, somewhere up in here. And so we're going to put a short line right there, short line right there. And then we're going to put a line. Let's see, the next line would be this one. And go lightly so that if you make a little mistake, it won't be so noticeable when you're coloring. You can kind of hide it. And then the next thing you're going to do is go from here, right there where you came, and you're going to come down. And it's going to curve a little bit, like that. See, this one's kind of pointy. It's a little too pointy for me. I don't really like it that pointy, but it could point a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to come and I'm going to go like that. Then, right here, see, this one's coming this way. Then this one is going to slant a little bit, like, okay, say this was a table, and this was the leg, and here's the top of the table. Well, it's going to slant up a little teeny bit like that. Let it slant up. Then come from the corner of that and meet that other end like that. And then this will go up and touch that. And then you can make it a little hairy like we've been doing. And we've got a fluffy bunny ear there. And you can take your pink and color inside of there. Be careful whenever you touch one color to another color. You got to try not to, because they will kind of smudge together. See, it did a little bit right there. You don't want that to happen too much. So go carefully along the edge first. Maybe go a little slower around the edge so you're not catching the other color. Carefully. And then go inside. You can go a little faster once you've got the edges taken care of. Okay, now, if you've got room, you can make a long ear over here. If not, make another short one. Only you just go in the other direction. You make this, you make the lines, and then instead of going this way, you go that way. But if you've got enough room for a long ear, go ahead and make a long ear. And to make a long ear, you just go, you can kind of tilt it toward the corner. That gives you more space. And you can go like this. And like this. See, it's a little curve and a curve. And then you go on the outside of it. Now, like I said, if there wasn't enough room, another folded over ear is okay. And you know what? If you don't get this the first time you try it, and you kind of goof up, and you can look at it, you can say, "Oh, wait, I see what I did wrong," and then you do it right the next time. That even happens to me sometimes when I'm showing one class a picture. While I'm doing it, I think, "Oh, you know what? I could have done that a different way." And then in the next class, I'll do it a different way. It works. And once again, you can go really careful so you're not running into your blue, getting blue mixed up with the pink as you go along the edge. Then you can color it in. And And yes, Easter is a holiday, but we don't want any holidays in our color. We want it solid inside of there. So make sure if you see white spaces that you get rid of them. Brighten that up a little bit for you. Okay. How's yours coming out? Coming out good? Most of the time my students' pictures come out good. Sometimes they think they're not coming out good, and then in the end when they look at it they say, hey, it's pretty good. Sometimes it's easy just to look at a mistake because we know we made the mistake and we see it and it seems so big when we first make it, but it really isn't. So it's best not to let those mistakes bother us. Okay. Now, one of the ones I did, oh yeah, this one's got some little rosy cheeks. I like that. Oh, can't see it with that. Let me darken it a little bit. There we go. See how it's a little bit rosy there? I like that. Let's make rosy. Now, the way to make rosy, whoops, too dark. The way to make the rosy cheeks is you don't really want to get carried away. You don't want to see a lot of scribble, so you want to keep your coloring really, really light, really, really light while you do this. Easy, easy. Easy, easy, easy. So you don't even notice where the edge of it is too much. I gotta make it darker so you can see it. That's how light you gotta go. Try not to get in that black because you will get black streaks. So get a little bit. See, I'm going really, really light. I'm barely touching the paper. And I'm fading off at the end. I'm going not hard at all when I get towards the edges. Not making round circles. Not making round circles because you know what? I think round circles would start to look like this, and I don't want to see scribbles. You see how that would look like scribbles? I don't want to see that. That's why I'm going like this instead. Because it makes it just like, you know, like the bunny's kind of blushing a little bit. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but when I'm doing something that's dark, I pull my hands closer to the point, and it's easier to make a dark line, okay? But if I'm going light, I back up. And the reason I back up is so that the point is barely touching the paper. When I want to be really light, I back my hand up off of the crayon or the pencil or whatever I'm shading with, and I make it really light. That makes it easier to go light. Okay. So, now Bunny's got a little bit of a rosy cheek going on there. And another thing you can do is just add just a little bit of, again, this is about shadows again. Let me see if I have something that's kind of shaped, rounded. I don't see anything. I don't see anything around me, but this is kind of rounded. All right, like I was saying, see how it's lighter here and darker over here? Well, when you look at white, the shadows on white can be kind of gray or kind of bluish. So at the bottom around here, I'm going to do just like I did with this. I'm going to go a little bit with this light blue, very lightly. See, I'm barely holding on to it, and it's making a shadow underneath here. And I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow right here under his eyebrows because eyebrows stick up a little bit. And then the light would make a shadow. If it was shining something on, anytime you shine something on something, it makes a shadow. See the shadow of my hand on the paper? If light's shining and my hand is blocking the light, and so since my hand is blocking the light, it makes a shadow on the paper. So his eyebrows would be blocking some of the light and making a shadow on his face. And right here, where his ears folded over, a little bit of it is going to make a shadow. Okay, and right here we might just to give it a little interest, put a little shadow there, a little shadow. See, makes it nice. And then maybe a little bit right here, where the top part of his ear is getting more light than the bottom part. And you see, it's okay if we got little lines in here a little bit because it's fur. It works. Oh, another spot that could use a shadow is right here by that little fluff. Because the little sticking up fluff would make a shadow on the rest of his fur. Isn't that neat? Okay, he's looking really good now. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is give him a pretty bow tie. And a nice big bow tie because it's Easter and yeah. So to do that, we're going to make a square, but just like we did with the curves, we're going to make a square with curves. And it doesn't have to be real dark because we're going to outline it in a minute. We got a curve here. Curve here. We're doing the sides of a square, see? They're all about the same size, but they're curved like that. And then we make a big curve right here and a big curve like here. If any of you remember drawing that little teddy bear at Christmas time, this one is a whole lot like it, isn't it? Like this and like this. Okay, we're going to go with a polka dot tie with this one. You can make a plaid too. So I think we're going to put a plaid in the background. So we're going to put the polka dots on the tie. Let's make different color polka dots, I think. Let's make some of the polka dots. Whoops, I didn't finish. Look. Okay, this has to have it's going to come around in a curve. And you could curve, go in a little bit and curve out again. That looks pretty. Curve in, curve out. There we go. Okay. And then a line here. This is going to be the squinched part. You know when you tie a fat ribbon, some of it squinches? And that's where the squinches are going to be. Now, let's put some blue-green circles. Some of them could be kind of caught in the squinch, so only part of it will show. And we can color inside of those like this. I'm not going to color it too dark inside. I like it kind of light, but still want to make sure we don't have holidays. And I'm going in little circles. The reason I'm going in circles is because this is a circle shape, so going in a circle inside of it makes sense. I go a little slower around the edges to be careful. And I'll put another one right here. They don't all have to be the same size. They can be different sizes. And we're going to put some other colors in there too. See the end of that one is in the fold of the squinch of the ribbon. That's why I made it flat on one end. It's where the fold is in the ribbon. Oh, I gotta put some in here, huh? I'll put a smaller one and a bigger one. I'm kind of liking this already. Are you liking yours? Okay. And then we can take some other colors and put some other ones in there, like yellow. And look, part of it could be off the edge like that. We didn't do any blue-green ones like that, but that could happen. You could have the dots on the fabric on the ribbon kind of going off the edge. That one, maybe the other part of that circle's got caught up in that fold. That's why we don't see it. If you don't see it, don't draw it. That's an important thing about drawing. Sometimes you know something is there, but if you don't see it, it doesn't have to be part of the picture. Yeah, that's good with the yellow. And then pink, maybe. Pink or orange? Maybe orange. Yeah, we got a lot of pink in there already. Let's do orange. I might make the orange ones smaller. That'd be fun. Now, bang dots. I call them bang dots because in the classroom, when all the kids would start banging dots, it would sound atrocious. It would sound like fireworks. We just didn't need that. Bang dots are like this. And they're not really pretty, are they? Sometimes you might want that kind of dot, but not. Most of the time they end up being lines. They don't even end up being dots. So we don't want to have that kind. We want tiny circles. So you make a tiny circle, you make a circle. And then let the crayon fill it in. So no bang dots. With dots, but not bang dots. I like these kind of little details. It makes things really pretty. Fun. Now, let's go ahead and color in carefully around these things that we've drawn. Now the dots, best to just start right around the dot like that and go out bigger and around the circles. Always good to get around the edges of things first, especially where two colors have to meet. And then after you do that, then color in. Try not to leave holidays. And now some of you may have picked up the other light green color. This is called green yellow. I don't use it a whole lot. You can tell it's not even been used, I don't think. Green yellow, as you can see, is more yellow than green. And when you have a color like this that's got two names, green, yellow, it means this is a yellow color that has some green in it. This one is a green color that has some yellow in it. So the last one is the main color. That's sort of like its last name. So this is a form of yellow. This is in the yellow family. And this yellow family color is green yellow because it's yellow that has a little green in it. This one is in the green family. And this crayon in the green family is yellow green because it's a green crayon that has some yellow in it. Okay? And the same thing happens with the red, violets, and all that stuff. This is a violet crayon that's got some red in it, and so forth. The second color that you see is the one that has that's the main color. And the first one is the color that's been added to the main color. So that green-yellow crayon is very light. It's almost not useful as a green. It's much more useful as a yellow. Okay. Let's get around these things. That's the only thing when you put these little details. They're a little hard to color around, but I think they're still a lot of fun. From what I've heard, some kids leave the bunny a carrot. Bunnies really like that. And like I said, some of the kids leave their picture and a carrot. And sometimes the bunny takes the picture. Sometimes the bunny leaves the picture so that you can save it. Okay. This is a little coloring trick. When something gets hard to do and it's in a bad spot, move the paper. It's easier for my hand to go like this than to go like that. So if I move the paper, it's in a better spot and I can color more easily. We use bunnies at Easter time because a lot of the animals in the springtime are making new families and they having little baby animals, and you can see lots and lots of little creatures running around having new life. And we use bunnies and flowers at Easter time and butterflies because Jesus gives us new life. When he died on the cross, he took away all of the bad things that might be in our hearts. And when we give our bad things to Jesus in prayer and ask him to forgive us for the wrong things we do, he takes away all of that bad stuff from our hearts and gives us a new life. And so at Easter time, we use a lot of things that show us new life. In the springtime, butterflies go into their cocoon. Well, the butterflies don't go in the cocoon. A caterpillar goes into the cocoon, and instead of it coming back out, a caterpillar comes back out something a lot more spectacular. It comes out as a butterfly. It has a new and changed life. Just like after Jesus died on the cross, they buried him in a tomb, and he stayed buried for 3 days. And then he came alive again. And like the butterfly, it wasn't the same. He wasn't exactly the same as he was when he was buried. He was new. And he was not dead at all, alive in a very new way. So that's why we use bunnies and flowers and all those signs of new life. Butterflies. and all that good stuff at Easter time. Little chickens come from an egg, come from out. They were in the egg before, and their life was growing in there, and they're no longer trapped by the egg. They come out. It's like Jesus was no longer trapped in the tomb and dead. He came out. He came alive again. And when we're finished with this picture, I'm going to show you a neat picture. And maybe one day I'll make a video and show you how to make one like it. I call it a magic picture. It's not really magic, it's just a good trick. But I'll show you when we're finished with this one, which is going to be pretty soon, believe it or not. This bow, I think, takes the longest of everything in the picture. But it comes out really pretty. Now, like I said, I made this bow lots of colors. You can make a bow just 2 colors. You can make a bow that's plaid or striped. Or you can make it just 1 color. All of that would work. Depends on what you want to do. And we made the rabbit using blue, light blue, to show a white rabbit. Like I said, sometimes the shadow of white looks either gray or blue. And so when you use blue as the outline, it makes